tier list is basically a tier list that is not just like the best character would be up here and the worst character would be down here. It basically also ranks them on the horizontal axis as well. So there's two variables that you kind of rank someone by. I don't know what's up, Chunky Kong, but thank you for the follow. So here's one. Complexity. Simple. Right, so let's give a few examples of like complex characters. Like Ice Climber is very complex. Right? Very like a lot of character depth. Like Pokemon Trainer is relatively complex. Palutena is relatively simple. Right? So there's a lot of ways to approach this kind of perspective. What's up, Chippy? So I think this is like regardless of like level, and I think Greninja, like every character can be difficult at a high level, of course. Like I'm not taking away with that, but all the characters have a different baseline of complexity. Like if you want to play Ice Climbers at a decent level, you have to learn a lot of stuff just to get started, because it's just that complex. Meanwhile, a character like Ike or Palutena, they just pick up and play, right? But there's actually another thing. God, this Death Note music is going way too hard. It's okay. There's another thing that kind of creates a lot of complexity in a tournament environment, and that is, let's see, which one is this? This one to the right? No, this is the one to the left. So this one is to the right. So what's the opposite of being fundamentals based? Right. So some characters are very fundamentals based, while other characters don't play by the rules. So Ice Climbers, for example, they're very complex, but they also don't really play by the rules, right? They skip a lot of the game because, you know, it's not like they're playing hardcore fundamentals. Cheats. Put choke there else. That's not actually, well, it is kind of cheating. But I like doesn't play by the rules. A character like Peach, right? A character like Peach is very complex, also doesn't really play by the rules. The music is killing me, dude. I love the music. So to kind of illustrate a point is that I think, let me get my pen back. Dude, this piano is going ham on my stream right now. Yo, thanks for the follow, Icarus Magnus. Hope you enjoy the stream. Learn a thing or two about a thing or two. These characters are easy. These characters are easy. These characters are easy. These characters are hard. And I will tell you right now, there will probably be no more than 5 hard characters in the entire game. There will probably be no more than 5 hard characters in the entire game. Spoilers. PT is pretty complex, dude. Not playing by the rules is literally cheating. Well, yes, but I think like Shulk's Modado art is cheating, but it doesn't make him less fundamentals based, in my opinion, right? So that's like a distinction, in my opinion. So let's actually put these back. Well, I mean, these are just the complexity, right? Well, I mean, I do think Shulk is one of the harder characters in the game. Mezzy. I think that's pretty much undeniable. But yeah. Icy's desync is cheating. It is. They play neutral very differently, right? So they would be put like right around there. What's up Nover? So a character like Ike is actually pretty fundamentals based. I know on Wi-Fi it's a little bit different. But this makes Ike a lot harder than you normally would be to play at a top level. Because whereas a Palutena, who doesn't really care about spacing that much, right? She can skip a lot of the things that a lot of other players have to master to do well. So Ike, in a lot of ways, is a hard character because there's no like bullshit that you can rely on to win a game. Whereas Palutena has a lot of bullshit that she can rely on. You just put Wolf in the bottom right. Yeah, so Wolf, where is he? Where's Wolf? There he is. Wolf is in this area too, right? I would say Wolf is probably a little bit more fundamentals based. Ike is like super simple, like arguably one of the simplest characters in the game. Nico didn't know how to DI and Smash 4. Come on, dude. So Polly cheats. Well, Polly doesn't play by a lot of rules. She's still pretty fundamentals based, right? She's a little bit down the middle, in my opinion. She doesn't have a lot of like bullshit in the way that, for example, so Pokemon trading would be somewhere there. Just about. We'll fine tune later. But yeah, so like Palutena, she gets to skip a lot of the parts of the game. Rather than like she doesn't need to think about how to anti-air her opponents. Because at its core, Palutena just like short up neutral airs, right? She doesn't really need to think about outspacing you because her back air will beat that. Her dash attack will get her, will get her juggle without thinking about it. So she doesn't play by the rules in a lot of scenarios, but on the other hand, it's not like when she plays neutral, she will ever do anything that is unexpected. Like, you know exactly what to expect when you're playing against Palutena. It's just that her moves are just that good. What's up, Gurko? I hope I pronounced that well. Palu is busted, for sure. She's even a little bit... She's easier than Wolf. It was definitely a little bit simple. Lucina is another example, like Ike, who's a little bit less simple, but a little bit more fundamentals based too, right? I think Lucina might be the most fundamentals based character in the game, but I'm not gonna make any judgments yet. But yeah. Wolf has advanced stuff too. Footstool up out of shield, shine combos. His shield pressure requires thought, unlike characters like Mario, Roy, Shoke, who don't need space. Yeah, but he also just kind of drifts everywhere with his aerials, which makes his shield pressure a lot better. And he has very simple situations that he can put himself in due to the nature of his blaster. And I mean, this is not like a final placement. This is not a final placement. This is just me. I'm just for now. I'm just putting characters where in the range of where they could be. Masher Lucinas definitely have 0 fundies. Yeah, but if you lose to a Masher Lucina, then you're probably really bad at the matchup, honestly. Because there's nothing Lucina will ever do will surprise you. She's just doing exactly what you thought she would do, and if she's doing what you thought she would do and beating you, then that's on you. Ike is ZSS on training rules, true, but I think ZSS is relatively hard. So let's look at let's look at what's a fun character to handle. Inkling. So Inkling is definitely on the simpler side, but also a little bit fundamentals based. I would say in a lot of situations, she's swinging her sword in your direction. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Inkling I find very hard to place because I do think she's pretty fundamentals based and relatively simple. Maybe even simpler than Wolf. But then I wonder, if she really is that simple, why aren't there a lot of Inkling players out there, right? So it's not like I made this chart in my head already. I'm trying to figure it out as I go. Inkling's hard. Yeah, but she's hard because she's fundamentals based, right? She doesn't have any bullshit. I think she might, you might need more control over the game to play Inkling than Ike, because you need a lot better of an idea of how to play Advantage and offstage with a limited tool set, like Inkling does. But then she also has Roller. And then Becker kind of makes her very simple. She is simple. She's not as simple as some other characters, though. She might be. She might be. Her recovery is very easy too. She doesn't have the same bullshit as other top tiers. I agree, but it's not about bullshit. It's about difficulty, right? I'll put her around here. So these are all very fundamentals based but simple characters, right? So let's take something else, like Zelda. Zelda is relatively simple, but she doesn't really play neutral the way other characters do. She doesn't play by a lot of rules. Just, I don't know where Ice Climbers should be. I'm not that much of an Ice Climbers expert. Zelda, in a lot of ways, like, playing neutral with Zelda is like, it's like a mini game. Yeah, it's downbeat. It's like a mini game. Which definitely shows that she doesn't play by the general rules. She just plays her minigame, right? So that's something to consider. I would put her in this area, right? So she's pretty simple, and she doesn't play by the rules. So these characters in this... Oh, that's true. That's very true. She does break a lot of rules in that regard. Roller doesn't, but dashing under things definitely does. Yeah, I might move her over to being a little bit less fundamentals based. If we look at like the general... It's hard to say because I think the dash, like, it does break rules. But if you're used to it, you can play around it for very well. Whereas, even if you're used to Zelda down being in neutral, she will still down be in neutral and you still have to deal with it. Right? It's not really fun, like the game fundamentals. Inkling is hard to say. I'll just leave her here for now. People want to find out if they're carried or not. So if you're not in this upper right quadrant, you're already carried. Inkling is definitely relatively fundamentals, for sure. That's why Inkling mains did so well at the beginning of the game. Because there's not a lot about the character to kind of, like, you know, specifically develop. I'm carried. Ooh, same, dude. Same. Let's see. So, Duck Hunt is definitely relatively complex, right? I wouldn't call them like super complex because very complex characters don't really exist in Smash. And he doesn't really play by the rules, right? He doesn't really play the fundamentals. So if you're carried, you're definitely in like this area. And if you're carried by matchup inexperience, you're in this like left half. So these are some examples of some of the characters that appear on these ends of the spectrum. So like Pac-Man is like all the way up here, right? Pac-Man is one of the most complex characters in the game, and also doesn't play by any of the rules. Pac-Man doesn't really care. That's a TLDR. Let's remove Daisy real quick because she's a clone. Are there any other clones in here? I'm not gonna... Well, I could rank the Mies, just not Brawler, because I don't really know Brawler. Right. So Snake... Pac is more complex than Ices. Well, Ices might be more complex. I don't know. Ices is probably the most complex character in the game. But it doesn't play by the rules. So you mean characters that don't play neutral, they play their own game without caring about the opponent's neutral. Not just neutral, dude. Not just neutral. For example, a character like Snake, they don't play by the rules because when your opponent is off stage at Nikita, and when your opponent's on the ledge, they off smash. Like, they don't play ledge traps, they don't play offstage pressure. They just do their own thing, right? So Snake doesn't play by the rules at all. So it's not just neutral, but neutral is an aspect of it. Let's see. The music. Snake could be interesting. Yeah, dude, I just got Snake. There are like 30 Duck Hunts in this game. True. True. Pac-Man has a high skill floor and a relatively low ceiling. It's hard to say. I think there's a lot to be explored with Pac-Man though. Duck Hunt is weird and mostly complex due to the genetic amount of awareness required. Yeah, so complexity in Smash is pretty rare in general, right? So even Pac-Man, who is seen as like one of the more complex characters in the game, is not that complex. Like, compare learning Pac-Man to learning any character in a fighting game, and you need like 1/10 of the hours to play the character. Like, characters in this game are generally simple. This is not, like, complex is not complex period, it's complex by Smash Ultimate standard. So Snake doesn't really play by the rules. And I think he's a little bit down the middle in how complex he is. I think he plays even less by the rules than... like, out of most characters, he plays less by the rules than Pac-Man. So, like, Snake has a lot of things that make him simple. As in, like, he has a few options that are really strong. But then his grenade setups can make him very complex. It's just that... like, half of the time, it's the Snake setting it up. And half of the time, it's the Snake reacting to kind of the situation that occurred. So there's a potential for Snake to be up here, like in the super complex tier. But realistically, he doesn't need it to perform well at the stage that Snakes are at right now. I don't think Pac should be as high as Ice Climbers. I think Pac has some really cool simple combo. Except for those who are more complex. Yeah, but Pac-Man has like a lot of shit to him. A lot of things to learn about the matchup. A lot of gimmicks. Like if you think about Bag of Tricks, then I think about like Pac-Man, right? Peach is another relatively complex character. But a little bit more fundamentals based. Float really changes how you play the game and really makes her play less by the rules. And she creates a lot of situations that other characters don't even get. Because she can, for example, she can float in air your shield, and that kind of pressure, no other character can do that. So in that regard, she doesn't play by the rules. She's also relatively complex because she's a slow character with relatively poor range. Relatively, I say relatively because her range is actually pretty decent. And then she has her item game as well, which also further... oh. I'm sorry for that. Which also makes it harder to play against her. So, let me think. Let me actually move Snake up because I think he's hard to play against. And I actually think Peach is harder to play against than Duck Hunt. I'll put Peach around this area. So they're pretty complex. I don't think they're as complex as Pokemon Trainer. I think they're around here. But they're a lot more fundamental based than most like zoners are. Let's see. Rob is simple. Rob might be the easiest character in the game. I would agree. I think they're pretty simple. They might... Yeah, I think they're comparable to Ike. I think Ike is also really simple. Their disadvantage is hard, but then also their recovery is very easy. They have a lot of tricks though. So like if we talk about like optimized combos, then he gets a lot more complex. But I don't think the combos, like of course like super optimal if we're talking like Lucretio combos. Yes. But you don't need those to succeed. So this is like hard to say because I think at his core he's a very simple character that doesn't really care. Somewhere around here. But he also has combos to grind, and I don't know... Like, I don't think combos in general in this game are too complex. And we don't really see it in Rob's meta. I'm not gonna trust that link. Let's actually put Rob around here, because he does have some hard combos, and he does have some struggles in disadvantage that he has to do some unique stuff to get around. But he is pretty simple. Let's see. Dark Samus, get her out of here. It used to be a better deal last year. But resource management is hard, right? Yeah, but there's different types of resource management. There's different types. Like, Olimar's resource management is press B, enter a 10-frame animation, and get your Pikmin back. Shulk's research management is 5 variables that constantly interact in unique ways, that are very impactful and have a long cooldown, and all have unique trade-offs. Meanwhile, Pikmin all do the same thing, just with different nuances. Like, if you want to side B someone, it doesn't matter if you have a blue Pikmin or a purple Pikmin, right? The purple Pikmin will be better, and it will change your decision making. So I do think Olimar is a lot more complex than some other zoners, but that doesn't make him complex, period. So let's talk about Mario. Mario is definitely a simpler character. It's a lot very fundamentals based. He's definitely in like this club. So we'll just make this a club. It's not like an exact positioning. But I think Mario is pretty easy to do. His combos are not hard. His game plan is not hard. We ain't getting time for the tier list of the subs. Yeah, I gotta keep up with the chat, dude. Mario's brain dead. Let's go over, dude. But yeah, Bryce, dude, thank you so very much. And you too, sir. So of course. Let's just go down the list. So Luigi is really easy, and he doesn't really care about the rules. He might be even easier than Ike. Is he fundamentals based? He could be at a high level. But I haven't really seen it in practice, right? That said, he kind of just grabs. But then if you platform camp and you kind of get out of that situation, then Luigi becomes a lot harder. He also kind of has a very easy way to get out of this advantage. I don't know what to say about Luigi, guys. What do you guys think about Luigi? Do you think Luigi breaks the rules, or do you think Luigi plays by fundamentals? It's just like fundamentals on crack. Because right now, like if you get past the grab percent, then Luigi's literally the most flowchart boost if Luigi breaks the rules. You need more than grab to win, right? So yeah, so the grab, like if we look at grab Luigi's, they're like right there. They're in the bottom left. But he doesn't really break rules. He just plays fundies. He just gets stupid reward. He breaks some rules because his down B is stupid. Yeah, so but the grab kind of makes it hard to say, dude. Because his reward is so stupid, so his neutral is very different than normal neutral. Like normal neutral. Playing by the rules is like, say your opponent's in a ledge trap, can you spam up smash like Snake does? Or do you have to react like Lucina does, right? If you're in a juggle, do you get to Luigi down B out? Or do you have to, you know, do what Lucina does and just, you know, land normally? It doesn't feel like normal rules at all, but then when you're past the grab combo percents, it does feel like normal rules. So I'll put him in the middle because half the time he is, half the time he's not, right? I'll put him down the middle because he's hard to say. Yeah, right in the middle, bravo. I definitely agree. Alright. Bowser. So Bowser is definitely a simple character, but also pretty fundamentals based. He's kind of similar to Luigi in that his reward is so cracked that he doesn't really play by the rules normally. But he definitely does more than Luigi. I would say Bowser is around here. Around here. Right? Dr. Mario. Okay, guys, you gotta help me with Dr. Mario because I'm about to put him in like the exact same spot as Mario because I don't really see Mario being more fundamentals based or more complex. Does he have like complicated stuff that you have to keep track of? Can he create like wacky situations that are very hard to keep track of? A bit harder than Mario. He does have to work harder to get in, that's true. I'll put him a little bit higher because he has to, or a little bit more to the right because he has to, he doesn't have a flood, which makes it harder to approach, which means he has to rely more on like fundamental ways to approach. He's less by the rules due to down B combos. I can kind of see that. But then, like, he plays neutral by the rules more. You know what I mean? They're about the same on a chart like this. Yeah, so I like give it a little bit of room. It doesn't really matter. He's about what Mario is. Let's leave it at that, right? Rosalina is one of the more complex characters, but she also gets to skip some rules, especially since she has like the whole Luma mini game, right? I would say she ignores a little bit more rules than for example these two do, but not as much as like a mini game like Zelda, Duck Hunt, Snake, Pac-Man, because their neutrals are mini games. Their neutral are parkour tests. I don't know if she's as complex as some of like the situations you have to set up with other characters, because at the end of the day, the way she uses Luma is just basically like it's not that complicated. She has a lot of cheats, I definitely agree. Bowser Jr. is definitely one of the more complex characters in the game. He's very hard to play well, and he I would say it's hard to say. So I definitely think he's one of the more complex characters. It's a bit hard to say how much of that is fundamentals. I think he's a little bit down the middle. His neutral, he gets a, like, is there a way to make the plane bigger? I can zoom in, but I cannot make the plane bigger, unfortunately. No, he actually has a lot of stuff going on. So there's like the item game on down B. There's the side B usage. I'm gonna shift music. I'm just gonna go to chill hop, make it easy on myself. It will get crowded soon, that's true. So Bowser Jr. definitely one of the more complex characters. The side B usage is very hard. Down B usage is very can be very complex. There's a lot of like very specific Bowser Jr. things, like how he uses down B. But his side B especially, like his side B complicates his game, but it also makes him skip a lot of things, like getting off the ledge, you can use side B, playing advantage, you can use side B, getting out of disadvantage, you can use side B, playing neutral, you can use side B. Is he more complex than Pokemon Trainer? I think Pokemon Trainer might move up a little bit. I think he might be more complex than Pokemon Trainer. I think he might be, because Pokemon Trainer, like Pokemon Trainer is hard because you're juggling multiple characters, but maybe a little bit below. I'll put him about here. I mean, I think Bowser Jr. is like the lower end of high tier, personally. He's very complex. That doesn't make him good. It just means there's a lot to the character. But he also has a lot of things that are different than other characters. So yeah, let's stick to that. Yoshi is definitely a simpler character. Is he fundamentals based though? Ugh, now that's hard to say. Except for young Eevee, he's cracked. He is cracked. Yoshi plays weird for sure. He is brain dead. That's true. His double jump is cheating and has nothing to do with the rules. He is fundamentals based. The most he cheats is the double jump armor. Yoshi's also a contender for easiest. He's definitely down here. But this is simple at like a top level, right? So Bowser is easy because he's easy to pick up and play. But at the top level, or Rob is easy because he's easy to pick up and play. But at the top level, you need to lab like, you need to lab your combos, and you also need to really learn how to play disadvantage, which can be a little bit hard for Rob. I might move him down still though. I think he is pretty easy. Yeah, I think Yoshi's hard to say. You need a new Soko. I do. I actually asked my students in the student chat, but we haven't really figured something out that's nice. Set that to anti-reflex. True. Okay, we're moving Rob down. Rob is easy. Yoshi plays by the rules slightly. He's fundamentals based 100%, but double jump, I'm giving them away, yes. Tonight in 2 hours and 45 minutes. So he's simple and has to play around disadvantage a lot at a very high level. His double jump armors often occurs since he doesn't get the luxury of leg snap, which weaknesses disadvantage actual matchup knowledge. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Waddy has fundies, but Rob also simplifies fundamentals. So I'll put Yoshi. I think he's a little bit harder than Bowser in terms of fundamentals. I'll put Yoshi around here. So Yoshi, he has some things that break rules, but in general, he, you know, he's pretty simple and straightforward. Wario. Now Wario is hard because Wario doesn't play by the rules in a lot of situations, but then he's also pretty fundamentals based. I don't know if he's complex. He has some hard combos, and getting used to his air movement can be rough. But I think that's part of the fundamentals based aspect and not part of the complexity of the character. I would say Wario, he's definitely more fundamentals based than some of these characters. I swear to God, he's super easy. Dude, Dual Gas, I appreciate it so very much. I really do. I really do. Wario's mostly precision. He uses fundamentals, yeah. But his disadvantage doesn't play by the rules, and his airspeed also lets him not play by the rules in a lot of situations. So he is fundamentals based, but he can also skip a lot of things. Like the bike, using that as a ledge trap is really strong. He's definitely not as simple as like Bowser or he's more fundamentals based, I would say. Not as much as like, I might move these over a little bit. I think he would end up around here. Do you guys agree with this Wario placement? Oh, see you later, Ender. He gets to skip some stuff, but in general, he's pretty fundamentals based. You gotta, you know, play to your. I'd up the complexity. I can see that. I can see that. He has some complex things, but I wouldn't call Wario a complex character. I wouldn't call him a complex character. This character, however, I would call a complex character. Like Piranha Plant has some weird shit going on, but they also don't really play by the rules. Probably around here. I think this is around where I would put Piranha Plant. I think he's definitely one of the more complex characters. Might even be a little bit more complex than Pokemon Trainer. Because Patooey is so weird. But he has so much tech with Patooey. And he requires so much precision. There's like a lot of frame perfect Patooey setups. I summon you, Delano. maybe we can summon him in the Ramses Discord. Let's see if he's around. Diddy's not center. We'll see. I mean, first is the ape, but let's see if we can actually entice Delano to come over. If not, it's all good. But yeah, I think in general, Piranha Plant, a lot of complexity to the character because of Patooey. Just very hard to judge. Donkey Kong, definitely a very Diddy in the extreme top right takes in. Dude, pressing down B and then R and then A to throw your banana out of shield, crazy, bro. Couldn't be me. I just realized I tend to not playing with the characters on the upper left and enjoy most of the characters on the lower right. Yeah, so that's something that's very common, actually. Because this requires a lot of knowledge, and people who are like jank lords or gimmicky often pick these type of characters. Where most people who just want to, you know, pick up and play, they go to the bottom right. Frame 7 was hitting my shield with unsafe stuff, though. Imagine there's a game where a freaking plant has more complexity to it than a clone of the best soldier in the world was basically created to go into stealth missions. it's just a plant. It's just a plant. I think Donkey Kong is very simple. I think he's not as simple as Bowser, though. Or, it's the complex stuff really part of the plant meta at a high level. Patooey can also be a very simple, strong tool. I think it is, actually, based on what I've seen from Piranha Plants. But yeah, DK is very simple. But is he simpler than Bowser though? I don't know about that. He is very simple. That's true. And he also doesn't really play by the... He doesn't... Yeah, they're around the same. I'll just put the ape right here. Get his eyes peeking over. Yeah, sure. I'll take this. Peach. Move her over a little bit. Yeah. I'm favoring picking up and play characters. I don't have time to learn complicated tech. That's fair enough. Yeah, there's a lot of armor jank, and because he's so simple, there's not a lot to him. Diddy. Diddy breaks a lot of rules. Diddy's also not the most complex character. Peach is 7 pixels too far to the left. Thank you. Diddy breaks a lot of rules, dude. He also has a few tools that are really strong. He literally takes so much skills, brother. Dude. I would definitely say that Diddy is a little bit more to the left than to the right. Between Rob and Zelda. No, he definitely plays more fundamentals based on Rob, for sure. He has a decent amount of complexity. I wouldn't call Diddy a complex character. I think he's around here. The simple mean the character is very pick up and play at low mid level, or they don't have many good possible options at the top level. It's mostly that you don't have to pick from too many different options. It's like straightforward, I guess. I guess is the best way to say it. You cannot read it, but there it is. Complex, straightforward. Is Wario more complicated than Diddy? Maybe. Ultimate Diddy's. What's complex about Diddy? Tell me, Jodgers. Like I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I mean, Diddy's not complicated. He's not a hard character. He has a very straightforward and relatively simple plan. He has some tricks, which makes him more complex than like Wolf. But I would not call Diddy a complex character ever. And then his banana and side B both break a lot of rules. They both break a lot of rules. That's one facet. Damn. You convinced me, Jodgers. Put him up there. Put him up there. Alright. K. Rool. I have to say, guys, I do not know. I do not know where I put this character. I do not know where I put this character. Can you control his barrels? I didn't think so. Barrels go brr. Exactly, Sky. Exactly. He breaks some rules. Like, he definitely is a little bit of a mini game. We'll agree to disagree. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Only clockwise. Okay, I see. That's weird. Good to know though. So I think K. Rool definitely is a little bit of a mini game. Not as much as like a Rosalina though. He's not that hard either. Yeah. He's a little... I wouldn't call him as simple as Zelda though. I wouldn't call him as simple as Zelda. A character definitely has a little bit more to it. I'll put him about here. He can definitely break the rules sometimes. Who's my favorite rapper? Aesop Rock. Link. Now, Link is weird. Diddy definitely breaks rules. True. Side B alone has its own yummy layer. He definitely also left stress for you. Yeah, Diddy definitely breaks the rules. Let's see. Link. So Link can be very complex at his like peak. But in practice, he is like, I think Link is the one who's in the middle. Ace of Rock is a go-to choice. Let's go. Yo, what's up, JLM? See you around. See you around. I think Link definitely skips some rules with the bombs. Definitely gets to play a little bit of a zone or neutral, which makes it a little bit of a mini game. His fast fall also kind of breaks some rules because it's that fast. Bomb recovery breaks some rules. Nair by itself kind of breaks some rules. But at its core, I don't think those are big offenders because they do have like very specific like fundamental counterplay. Bless Slate, bless. I love Ace of Rock. I've been listening to him since I was 16, so like 10 years now. Sheik. Sheik is definitely more the fundamentals based side. Definitely a little bit complex too. Would I call Sheik a complex character though? I'll put Sheik around here, I think. Not complex, not straightforward either. 7 children. Alright, I'll do Pikachu for you. Pikachu is like here. Nah. Somewhere like here, around here, I think. So I think Sheik is definitely not that complex. She's definitely a little bit straightforward, but she has some stuff that makes her a lot harder to play than, for example, Wario, because you need to be on point with everything, and you need to have a lot of like unique opinions. Pikachu definitely cheats. Skips disadvantage in a lot of ways, but the character is also really hard to play. I think playing Pikachu at a top level is very hard because Pikachu has a lot of choices that they can make at all times. In neutral, advantage, less so disadvantage, but still, definitely one of the more complex characters in the game, in my opinion. I actually think they're a little bit more. Skips ledge too. Yeah, up B is really good. So like disadvantage is where they don't play by the rules, but neutral and advantage they definitely do. I think they definitely do play by the rules in neutral and advantage. They just have a lot of options, so they can cover a lot of stuff. But they don't really have a single option that's strong, in my opinion, outside of like T-Jolt and then up B and disadvantage. Let's see what Jodger said. Most of Diddy's combos are just the items of the whole time. Auto cancel there is necessary to intercept using side B. His disadvantage tool is a frame perfect input. Neutral isn't brain dead since he auto loses to zoners and starts with platform camping, but he definitely has brain dead stuff like dash attack and nair. Okay, so brain dead neutral isn't brain dead against zoners, sure. Platform camping is strong, I can see that, though certain banana tosses can cause an automatic trip. And side B is also really good. And the main thing is banana forces his opponent to shield at ranges that they normally don't have to, which makes platform camping less strong. I don't know if he struggles against platform camping. I would have to see it to believe it, honestly. Because in theory, I think he has the tools to deal with it. Yeah, Pikachu's is really good, but that doesn't make him... That doesn't mean that he automatically breaks rules. From that explanation, Diddy can move up 3 pixels. Yeah, it is Nujavi's. The GOAT. I don't think Pikachu is much more complex than Sheik, though. I would disagree. I think Pikachu is a lot more complex than Sheik. You can only throw banana twice. That's resource management. Boom. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't think Sheik... I think Sheik's complexity is a little bit overstated, honestly. But they might... I don't see them being more complex than, for example, like Peach. Or Duck Hunt, honestly. Maybe Duck Hunt should move a little bit down. And Rosa too. Actually, Rosa can move a lot down. I don't think Rosa's that complex. Complexity is mostly mechanical. I definitely agree with that. They have hard decision making at times. Yeah, Rosalina's... It's hard to say, man. I think I put them around here. Duck Hunt is kind of complex. I can see Sheik being more complex than Duck Hunt Dog. Dude, I'm looking forward to it, Dodgers. Go get him. Go get him, champ. I can see Sheik being more complex than Duck Hunt Dog. Sure. Lynx is more complex than Rosa. Dude, Link has a lot of stuff. Rosa is pretty easy, not gonna lie. This is Samurai Champloo. It's just a remix. I don't know about Rosa. I'll put her right there. She's hard to gauge. She's hard to gauge. Let's see. Luma shit isn't hard. Luma shit is not hard to do. You just have to know about it and then it happens. You know what I mean? I think Pikachu's gameplay can be really simplified. Well, I mean, that's true for everyone. Pikachu's complexity stems mainly from quick attack and doing follow-ups, but setting up ledge traps. No, I think Pikachu's complexity is the fact that he has a lot of options. And while yes, you can simplify the game plan, there are a lot of like minute differences in situations that cause you to pick a different option. Yeah, I agree, Chalice. I actually think I'm gonna put her down. I don't think Luma's that complex. Ganon is simple and very much fundamentals. I think because he has Pikachu high up. Perhaps. I think Ganon is in like this club. My crew will be slow. Among his crew will be slow. So here I am waiting. I know where I would put Ganon because I don't have a lot of experience with Ganon. Nobody really plays the character. I think he's definitely on the simpler side. Maybe most fundies. He may be actually. Because he's that slow. He's just that slow. He has to read you to hit you. He might also be the simplest character in the game. He might be the most bottom right in the game. Like the most straightforward fundamentals based character. He doesn't really rely on coverage, etc, etc. I'll put him here for now. It's gonna be a controversial take, but it is what it is. We can always adjust later. So Young Link. Young Link is like decently complex actually. Probably a little bit more so than Peach. A little bit. Is he fundamentals based? Pretty fundamentals based. Has some stuff where he gets to ignore the rules. Ganon bottom again. Exactly. He does have a command grab, that's true. But, I mean, like, Ganon doesn't ignore a single rule. Yo, Freshwater, thanks for the follow, man. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Learn a thing or two about a thing or two. I think the thing is, like, Lucina has the same in, like, Shield Breaker, right? If you want to beat Shield, here's your move to beat Shield. Shield Breaker or Command Grab. It's kind of the same, right? Yeah, Lucina ignores some rules. I think, so... Link ignores a lot of rules as bomb recovery, which Young Link doesn't really have in that manner of not that accessible and not that strong either. Young Link has a better out of shield because he also has the grab, which is in this game a tether grab is actually really good to have, especially considering Young Link's other options. Link automatically ledge traps with the bomb as well. He can throw the bomb down, cover the normal get up, and then cover the roll, etc. On his own. I don't know if Young Link is more fundamentals based than Sheik though. I think I would put Young Link around here. Yeah, I think Young Link is definitely one of the harder characters in the game, though. Definitely one of the harder characters in the game. But I definitely, like, I do feel like Pokemon Trainer is more complex. How do I DI Dolphin Slash? Good luck. Harder than Peach? Yeah, I don't think Peach is that complicated. I think she requires a different, like mindset. Might be around the same. It's close, honestly. Young Link has some easier stuff though. Yeah, but yeah, they both have like complicated item play. Young Link is hard to say. I think Young Link is around. Yeah, let's just put them at around the same and go from there. Let's see. So I think Young Link is one of the harder characters in the game. Just a heads up. Toon Link, I do not know. I think Toon Link is actually I got bodied. What's complex about Young Link? His neutral is very hard because his projectiles all have is the title wrong? Alright. Updated the stream title. Thank you. So his three projectiles are very, very different, which makes it hard. Dude. So yeah, Young Link's projectile game is pretty complicated because they have three pretty unique projectiles that all accomplish different things. And then they don't have the range to really contest a lot of longer range characters. So they have to make a lot of decisions between, going in, going out. Basically, it's kind of the same as Pikachu, where they have a lot of options that have very unique trade-offs and not really like one strong option. This is what happens when you quit your job to go full-time streamer. Dude, we get the subs. If that's what happens, then I should have stopped way earlier. Because this support is crazy. You guys are so kind. Thank you so very much, everyone. I am humbled by your support tonight. I don't know about Toon Link. I would say Toon Link is just by gut feeling. I'd say Toon Link is about here. Like most zoners feel a little bit minigamey. I can't Ramses Paw because Twitch doesn't like me. Damn. I'll add some for you. Put him bottom left. Scotland home of the Toon Links. If Young Link was taller, slower, and had a room bomb, normal grab, and slower jab, he'd be sick. Dude, Zach, you got it. What's up, Aka? You ready to see me butcher Little Mac's placing? Toon Link is a lot more camp, which makes him a lot more simple, I think. But he still has some complexity. I think he's less complex than Diddy, though. Probably. But he does play by the rules. He just plays them with projectiles, right? All right, I'll place Little Mac. Little Mac is gonna be horrible because, just mashing B and dash deck all the time. Kind of like Diddy with the banana in hand. So I think Little Mac is very much fundamentals based, but they also kind of ignore some aspects of the game where they can contest moves just by punching through them. It's hard to say because, like, in some ways they have to struggle on like they have to struggle with very specific fundamentals, to compensate for their weaknesses. So their juggle game is very different. So that would put them more towards it doesn't play by the rules area. but then they have to kind of compensate for their grab 2 and play around shields in ways that other characters don't have to. And in that regard, they're more fundamentals based than Wolf would be, for example, because Wolf can just kind of straight up do what you normally do. Let me think. Think in the middle. I would say Lil Mac is definitely a little bit more fundamentals based than I think I'll put him. Does he have complexity? I don't think Lil Mac is that complex. I don't think Lil Mac is that complex. His recovery is complex, and his disadvantage is complex as well. So I would say in that regard, and his, like, the way he deals with his weaknesses is pretty complex. But I wouldn't call him a complex character. He might be more complex than Wario, though. I would put him around here. I wouldn't call him, like, that complex of a character, but he's definitely more complex than most characters. And I think he's very fundamentals based, personally. It's just that like, because of the way his tool set is like skewed, because of the way his tool set is skewed, he actually has to do a lot of like specific things to compensate for his weaknesses, which makes him more complex. And also requires him to know more about fundamentals, like specific parts of fundamentals that other players don't need to. On the other hand, I wouldn't call him as fundamentals based as, for example, an Inkling. Because Inkling gets to do a lot more like straightforward stuff. Or Inkling has to know a lot more about some situations in which Lil Mac doesn't need to go as in-depth. Because Lil Mac doesn't really play the situations. Well, I don't think it's because he's bad. It's because he's bad, but he has tools to deal with those situations. Right? So there's a difference between, oh, Bowser is floaty, so it's hard to get out of the juggle, and you're in a juggle, but here's these 10 tools, and each of these tools needs to be applied in this specific situation, and that is how you get out of the situation. So that's kind of what it is for Lil Mac, is that a lot of his weaknesses he has tools to deal with, more so than other characters that have those weaknesses, but they're still extreme. I think Lil Mac is hard to place though, and I understand why a lot of people wouldn't call him a fundamentals-based character, but I played with some really good, he can punch through most attacks. How's the fundamentals? Because if he uses a forward smash in neutral, then you probably got hard red, and you know, like, it's kind of bullshit. That's why he's not all the way over in fundamentals. Like, it could be a little bit like, let's just do it like this then. All right, let's put it like this then. All right, Samus is simple as fuck. This character is easy, dude. Like, she's right here. Nah. Heroes all fundies. I don't know about Hero, dude. Samus, there will be a VOD. Yeah, I'll upload it as on YouTube. It will just be like 5 hours, so, you know, it's up to you if you want to watch it. Samus is definitely one of the more straightforward characters in the game. Is she fundamentals based? Sort of. But she's also kind of a minigame because of how her charge shot works. It's like fundamentals, but it's like Samus fundamentals. I think in general she doesn't play by the rules in neutral, and her disadvantage lets her rely on bombs, and she has her charge shot as well. I think she's definitely more than that doesn't play by it. I think she's in this area somewhere. Did I say his? Her. I should say. her. I think she's about here. Samus is a duck hunt. Never met a male Samus player. Female. True, never met a female Samus player. Zero Suit, pretty complex character, kind of the same as Pikachu, where they have a lot of options. I would say they're around this complexity. Not as complex as Peach and Young Link, I don't think. I think those characters are a little bit more complex, but she's definitely more fundamentals based than those characters. She gets to ignore some stuff with Flip Kick, but I think Flip Kick is basically like a roll in the air, in a lot of ways. I'll put her around here. She does cheat with down B, but outside of that, she has no cheats in my opinion. Maybe her double jump, but I don't know. Yeah, just going for everyone downwards. Flip jump is not a gimmick. Flip jump is not a gimmick. It's a mix-up. It's a good mix-up, but it's a mix-up. It's not a go-to, and it's not a gimmick, but it's a mix-up. I think Zero Suit is... I think Zero Suit is definitely a little bit complex. Not easy to play. And definitely more fundamentals based than anything. I just think Twitter would find it comical. I mean, most of Twitter are Wi-Fi warriors, and on Wi-Fi, no one is complex, right? It's a free out of jail card. It is if you're Byleth. It is if you're Byleth. Ridley, oof, definitely more of a fundamentals character. Actually, one of the more fundamentals-based characters in the game, in my opinion. They have a double jump, which kind of mixes stuff up a little bit, or a multi-double jump. Let's see. I think I'm so happy you're using my emotes, the Greninja emotes. I kind of think, is he more complex than these characters though? He's not really, is he? He might even be simpler than these characters. I think he's a little bit more complex. I think he would be around here, right? So he has some stuff that allows him to ignore some of, you know, the fundamentals. But in general, he is fundamentals based. So he's a lot of footsies. He has good tilts, good range on his aerials. He has a projectile. Yo, I'll catch you later, Mitten. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the stream. Do appreciate it a lot. So I would say he's part of the fundamentals club. For sure. What's up, Godot? Kirby, I don't know how to rank Kirby, dude. I don't know what... honestly, I don't know where I would put Kirby. I think he's just bad. Like, I don't think he's complex or fundamental based or rule. Like, he doesn't play by rules because he doesn't get to play the game. Why the fuck would I put Kirby? I'm gonna leave Kirby for now. We unlurk. What's up, Soup? What's up? Hope you're doing well. Kirby, yeah, drop the Kirby highs. Put him in heaven. Yeah, he died. Meta Knight. Meta Knight definitely... he's a little bit down the middle, I think, because he does play fundamentals, but he doesn't play fundamentals himself. He reacts to his opponent, and he's very simple. He's very, very simple. He might be right there. Because, like, he plays fundamentals in terms that he plays a lot of, like, whiff punishes and stuff like that. Meta Knight is not simple. What's not simple about Meta Knight? Like, his neutral is literally just focusing on whiff punishes. And whiff punish is stuck in this game. Yeah, Slate, you're right. So I would say Meta Knight, like, he does play fundamentals, but he plays it in his own way. I'll skip Falcon for you, Godot. That does not equal hard, though. Yes, he's straightforward. Like, his neutral is very straightforward. His advantage is straightforward. Getting lettered consistent takes a lot of practice and has a huge combo tree. Yeah, but R's combo is complex, though. R's combo is complex. Because I think for example, like Pikachu has a complex advantage state because there's so much he can do, right? Piranha Plant is a complex advantage state. Pac-Man has complexity because there's so much you can do. Bridges and ladders are pretty complex. Okay. Then he might be harder. But that's all technical. Like, that's all technical stuff then. I still wouldn't call him a complex character. I think he's a simple character. I'll put him here because I don't think he's... I think Wolf is harder than Meta Knight. King Dedede doesn't play by the rules in a lot of cases. Gordo neutral. Recovery. Gordo ledge traps. Definitely doesn't play by the rules. Is he simple? Hard to say. He has a lot of Gordo setups, but I don't think they're that complex. You just gotta hit them right. Okay, I'll put Meta Knight more towards fundamentals. Which I see the case for. And that is the part that makes them hard. You need to be a good pilot to get the most out of them. Let's see. King Dedede. Definitely skips a lot of rules. But definitely a little bit harder than these characters. A little bit. I think he's about K rule difficulty. There you go. Fox. What do you guys think about Fox? Chat. Talk about Fox. Talk about Fox. I think Fox is very hard to judge. He's pretty straightforward because of his Nair. But he also requires a very good pilot. Like, he's kind of similar to Meta Knight in that regard. All the way top right, no bias here. I got you, Tomorrows. Fundamentals based. Lots of reactionaries. He is fundamentals based. He's more funny based. Not entirely, in my opinion. Because he does have strong mash. And, you know, the speed to force the mash. And he has some... Does he have complexity? It's hard to say. Do you guys think Fox is a complex character? I think he's pretty simple, actually. Reactionary and the RPS after your nature shield is where the funnies come. That's very true. He needs a lot of conditioning. A lot of conditioning. I'll put him about here. He's actually a little bit easier than Wolf, in my opinion. Fox is fundamental based, but not that hard. Yeah, he's straightforward, but fundamentals based. He's a little bit more complex than some of these characters. Like, he needs to find ways to approach his opponents. He needs to find ways to juggle without a disjoint. It needs a lot of conditioning. Like, you need to be strong pilots. But then a lot of it is also like auto pilots. When they're at the ledge, you just nair. When you got the first combo starter, you just finish your combo, etc., etc. Kirby's top right. Yeah, Kirby's in heaven. Kirby is in heaven. Falco is like the easiest fucking character in the game, dude. I think Falco is easy as hell. Like, he has some complexity to his combos, but I think Falco might be like top easiest characters in the game. Do you really think Luigi's that easy? Yeah, he might be a little bit harder than Rob, but definitely not that hard. Yo, Friday SSB with the sub too. Thank you so very much, dude. I appreciate the support so very, very much. Thank you for coming out tonight and joining me on this adventure. They don't stop coming, exactly. Why is Max so highest complexity when he has half the moveset and each move he does achieves pretty much the same thing? Because Mac has a lot of like specific things to mitigate his weaknesses that make his decision making a lot more complex than you would think it is. Like he doesn't have a grab and he doesn't have any moves that are safe on shield. Basically, like down tilt is still pretty unsafe. He basically loses his turn if you play it well. Yo, bye bye Jiggly. And a lot of like similar notions to other situations. Where when he's in a juggle, you have to like a lot of nuance. Basically, he's a very nuanced character. I don't think he has a lot to him, but because of that, he has to use his options in very specific and nuanced ways. That's not easy to do. And if you don't do it, then he's extra bad. And I said he's hard to place, so I'm not 100% confident in my mech placing. And in fact, out of all these placings, it's probably the one I'm least confident in. But yeah. He might be less complex, but I think he's actually pretty complex. Falco's neutral is super difficult to play. I don't think his neutral is difficult to play. I think it's just bad. I think it's just a bad neutral. I think I would put him around here. Maybe a little bit less simple than Ike. That's an interesting take, but I can understand your reasoning. Pichu. I don't know where to put Pichu. So, like, the only Pichu I know is Yete, and Yete is pretty straightforward when he plays Pichu. Theoretically, Pichu would be as complex as Pikachu is. Maybe even more. But I really don't know. Because I feel like Pichu combo roots are complex, that's true. But I think Pichu also has more tools that are just straight up strong. He can't just throw things out. Yeah, but I think Pichu is better at throwing things out than Pikachu is, actually. Because his buttons are better. I don't know where I would put Pichu. Pichu has no quick attack, that's true. Yeah. Pichu can't fish. Alright. Well, the best Pichu main in Europe does fish. Quick attack is a main aspect of Pikachu's complexity, but it is also an aspect of... Pichu has less to think about than Pikachu. That's the impression that I got, Akka. You have to work harder to not get hit as Pichu, since his pancaking isn't as good and he's more fragile in general. That is true. I would say he is more fundamentals based, but to me he does seem less complex. Like significantly less complex, but more fundamentals based. Yeah, disadvantage is harder. He has to play more by the fundamentals. But it's also less complex, right? Can Pichu play defensive? I don't know. Pichu's most complex tool is back air. That's true. Pichu can also forward smash 2-frame, can't you? I'll put Pichu... I think he's actually significantly less complex. Okay, you know what? I'll put Pichu down a little bit. No, he's still more complex than Piranha Plant. Maybe we'll just do this. There you go. I would put Pichu around here. I'm sorry to all the Pichu players in the house. Jigs. Definitely doesn't play by the rules. Very weird character. Very weird character. This chart is agreeable. Agreeable is all I'm going for. All I'm going for. But I think Pichu, I won't say Hungry Box. Jeez, Jigglypuff does play a lot to fundamentals though. It's just different fundamentals. So that kind of reminds me of what I said about Zelda and Samus. They are pretty easy. She is pretty easy. Disadvantage can be hard. Neutral can be hard. She's pretty straightforward in my opinion. I think she's straightforward. Definitely on like the level of the heavies. And a little bit more fundamentals based than anything. Hungry Boxes in Smash. Ugh. Got the chairs ready. I think she's very straightforward, and you have to rely on fundamentals to get in with her. Maybe more so. Yeah, I'm gonna hide her behind Yoshi so that I don't have to look at her. Let's just do this so that you can actually see her. This is not like a super accurate placing. But she needs to rely on fundamentals to kind of get in, and she needs to rely on her movement a lot to make that happen. Chris Angel with the waste points. Let's go. Mewtwo. Mewtwo is basically Samus in a lot of ways. You charge her projectile, you anti-air if they jump. Let me think. Charge her projectile, you anti-air if they jump. What else? Recovery. His disadvantage is harder, so I'd say he's a little bit more fundamentals based. But he really is faster, cooler Samus in a lot of ways. I don't think he's very complicated. Is he more complex than Samus? Probably not. His double jump adds some complexity that, you know, Samus would find in, for example, her bombs or her setups with her multiple projectiles. But definitely doesn't play by the rules generally. He doesn't have a double jump, yeah. Lucario, no idea. We're chilling up here until we figure out what to do with you. Greninja. So Greninja's a pretty easy character. Which is unfortunate because in Smash 4 he was very, very hard. And in this game he's very easy. So they did my boy dirty. That said, he's definitely more fundamentals based, which makes him harder. He gets to skip some of the stuff because of his double jump. So his double jump actually lets him, you know, not play by the rules in a lot of situations. A lot more than most like fundamental based characters. But I would say at the end he's still very fundamentals based. Very whiff punishing based. Has to condition because of his slower grab. Let me think. Yeah, his full hop lets him skip a lot of rules though. He's definitely more complex than some of these characters. Not more complex than Meta Knight. His double jump cheats hella hard. Yeah, his double jump cheats, but outside of that, he doesn't really have cheats. But it's a big cheat. I think I put him around here. So he's not super complex, but he's not like super brain dead either. And he's relatively fundamentals based, but he does get to skip like advantage or disadvantage, I should say. I know you're a Pichu main, Kenryu. What's the difference between Zero Suit Samus and Greninja? So Greninja gets a lot of like guaranteed stuff, while Zero Suit Samus is a lot of complexity comes outside of her. Comes out of the fact that her advantage state requires her to condition her opponent constantly, and she doesn't have a lot of guaranteed follow-ups. Her combo game is pretty subpar, But if she does read her opponent, then she gets a huge reward out of it. This means that you need to be on point to play her. And there's a lot of things that the opponent can do, which means that you need to know all of the ways that you can beat all of the minor differences in how they play their disadvantage. That's true, Tarek. Dude, dash attack only is broken. Alright, Game & Watch doesn't play by the rules, straightforward. Yeah, he's... Let's not play any games. I saw the messages in chat, guys. Don't worry, don't worry. I'm gonna skip Marth because he's a clone. He's a little bit more complex than Lucina. Like, if you want me to place him, he's like right here. He's a Lucina with added complexity. But not much. Let's see. I'm noticing a trend of having hard true combos doesn't necessarily contribute to the complexity of the character. Yeah, because a hard combo is not complex. It's just a hard combo. So Corin is definitely in this area. She doesn't really have any like much jank at all. She's very straightforward. Not as straightforward as Lucina though. I'd put her like right there, right? She's a little bit harder. Let's see if we can find some more of these kids. Is it just Pit? Yeah, there's Dark Pit. So Dark Pit is also fundamentals based, very straightforward. He might be around Ganondorf tier. He's a little bit simpler than Lucina, and maybe even more fundamentals based than Ike. I'll put him right there. Incineroar's top right free. Ooh, who knows? Who knows? Let's see. So, Mii Gunner, if you pick the right moveset, is actually one of the characters that plays by the rules the least. And has a decent amount of complexity. I think not as much as Duck Hunt. Definitely more complex than most characters though. Because they have a lot of like setups that they can do if you with the right how do you call it? With the right custom setup. Jeez, there's so many characters left to go, guys. So many characters left to go. Let's see. Mega Man doesn't play by the rules. Not that complex either. Definitely one of the least rule playing characters. And pretty simple. Honestly, pretty simple. Look at me, like, disregarding 10 years of Mega Man experience in 5 seconds. I love it. Sonic doesn't play by the rules. A little bit harder than most characters, but not that much. I would say it's harder than like DDD to play though. It's hard to say because Sonic, sometimes he plays by the rules and sometimes he just doesn't. It depends on if he has the lead or not. So I'll just put him, like, if he has a lead, I would put him to the far left. If he doesn't, I would put him more towards the middle. So I'll just go with like sort of an in-between. Yo, Raw Retro. Sorry. Thank you for the follow, dude. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Joker. Definitely fundamentals based. One of the more fundamentals based characters in the game. And pretty complex too. Probably not as much. Probably around Zero Suit level. Yeah. Definitely one of the harder characters in the game. Let's go through this a little bit quicker. Shulk is not as fundamentals based as Joker, but a little bit more than Zero Suit. Yeah, Arsene is a thing, but Arsene doesn't make him less fundamentals based. It just makes him cracked. Honestly. Joker kind of gets to cheat. Kind of, yeah. Alright. Joker is a little bit less fundamentals based than Joker. Definitely harder than most of these characters. Same, maybe even like right there. Got a jet, Ramses. Dude, I'll see you around, D. Thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, so I think Shulk is one of the hardest characters in the game, actually. But that's just me. Let's see. Olimar is actually one of the harder zoners to play, in my opinion. One of the more complex zoners. I don't... but don't really play by the rules either. I would say he's like a more like a difficult Rob. Like he has really strong close quarter combat, but he has to do a lot more complex stuff to really play his game optimally. So I'll place him around here. Not one I'm super confident with. I'm not confident with all the characters in the cast, of course. Let's see. We Fit definitely plays their own game. Definitely on the simpler side. Not super simple. Probably right here. A little bit more simple than some of the other characters because she has less character depth, in my opinion. But that's just me. Let's see. Some more zoners. The Belmonts. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, guys. You should just ask me what I'm skipping, and I will do my best. Belmonts kind of play by the rules a little bit more than most zoners because they're just that bad, and their projectiles all have a pretty decent risk reward. Definitely play a little bit of a mini game at the end of the day, though. And honestly, not super complex. They have some interesting things that they can do. I would put them around here. Yeah, around here. Yeah. Let me think. Is this more fundamentals based than DDD would be? Who knows? Who knows? We'll just leave it for like that for now. Hero is actually an interesting one because I think Hero has a decent amount of complexity, and is pretty fundamentals based. Not too much though. I'll put them right here. They kind of cheat in a lot of ways, but then they cannot rely on the cheats to win. It helps a lot off stage though, which is the main reason why he's, you know, a little bit more towards the cheat side as well as crits. Generally though, he's pretty fundamentals based, and he's pretty complex too. Like there's a lot that you need to know. Except for Downbeat. I think Downbeat adds a lot of complexity though. And like the management of having multiple long range moves, like side B2, neutral B, down B, also makes decision making that much harder. And then you have to manage your mana as well, which does become a thing if you're not used to playing hero. Yeah, definitely a banger. Definitely a thing. I think Min Min is one of the more complex characters. Just not too fundamentals based in general. I think she's more complex than a lot of these characters actually. But she doesn't play by the rules at all. Like her neutral is so weird. I'd put her like around there. She's very complex, but definitely not the fundamentals that you're used to. Byleth is actually very fundamentals based in my opinion. But they also have a very good recovery, which lets them cheat. But at the end of the day, you need to like rely on your fundamentals. I would say they're about the same fundamentals based level as Joker is. Pretty straightforward though, primarily because their options are pretty bad, so you only really use a few of them. I'm just gonna put her in this mass of characters. Let's see, Terry and the Shadows are basically the same character in a lot of ways. They don't play by the rules, I think, and they're pretty straightforward. They're pretty similar to Luigi, but just a little bit more cheating and a little bit more complicated too. So I'd say I'd put them all around here. I think Terry is a little bit simpler, and Ken is a little bit harder because you don't have like a guaranteed shield break combo, shield break move like Ryu does, especially at high level where people SEI to avoid the shield break combo that Ken does have. Let's see, only a few characters left. So, Shulk is easy. Well, you're falling prey to the Shulk main. Well, I can tell you, I played Smash for 10 years. In Brawl, I used to play Falco. In Melee, I played Sheik. In Smash 4, I played Zero Suit, and now I'm playing Shulk. In this game, I try to play Pokemon Trainer, I try to play Young Link, I try to play Zero Suit, I try to play Joker, I try to play Min Min, and I've tried to play Greninja, I try to play Lucina too, I try to play Robin, and I can tell you confidently as someone who has picked up new characters at least 5 or 6 times, Shulk is the hardest character in Smash that I've ever had to learn. Ever. How dare you say you tried to play Joker? I tried. There's footage of it out there, I think. I don't know, actually. It might be deleted already. I mean, it's been on stream, though. Let's put it that way. It's been on stream. Incineroar is fundamental based. Yes. Yes. Also very simple. I don't put him around the heavyweights. Actually, he's more fundamental based than the heavyweights. He's probably more close to Ike. All you have to do is dial cancel. Yeah. Dude, you got me. Shulk might be hard, but is he twice as hard as Rosa? Well, I mean, it's a bit hard to say, right? Yeah, Byleth is very fundamentals. That's why they're in this clump of fundamental based characters. Yeah, Incineroar is very fundamental, straightforward. He's in like this corner. Did I miss a Shoto bashing? You did. I'm sorry. But, you know, this is where they are. All 3 of them. Falcon. Falcon is another simple fundamentals based character. Definitely not the most complex character in my opinion. Don't think Toon Link is one of the 25 hardest in the game. He's mad simple. That's possible. I'm not like the expert on Toon Link. Falcon is pretty complex. You think so? Do you think Falcon has good neutral or bad neutral? I think it's pretty bad neutral, honestly. Just a really good advantage state. I think it's a pretty bad neutral. Just a good advantage state. And, you know, a lot of ways to get that random hit in neutral. I think he is fundamentals based, and that's what makes the character hard. Because you have to rely on your fundamentals to get hits. Because there's nothing that you can really do with Falcon that wins you neutral. You know what I mean? You need to read your opponent. You need to have the proper fundamentals to get the hits. That's what makes him hard. But I don't think the character itself is complex. People say it's good because he's fast. I don't think so. I don't agree. I think he's in this clump. I think he's a little bit less fundamentals based than... I think he's around Ike. A little bit more complicated. But doesn't really have a lot of specific stuff. Yeah, but that's like knowing advantage state well, that's fundamentals. That's not complexity, that's fundamentals. And this combo tree is honestly not that big. In my opinion. That's just me though. He doesn't have a haha neutral button, yeah, exactly. Like Luigi grab, or Palutena back air. Or Samus zoning, or Zelda down B, stuff like that, right? Let's see. How do you define complex then? Well, basically having a lot of unique options that make decision making harder. And I don't think Falcon has a lot of unique options, just a few bad ones that you have to apply properly. Personally. Gumo Diggy, what's up, Rinor? Good morning. Rectibus would be, but it's not quite enough. Yeah, exactly. Joker, I think Joker is very complex. Or not very, but I think he's definitely more complex than he is straightforward. He has, for a Smash character, he has a lot of options. But I think in general, most characters in this game are very simple. like, most characters in this game are just that simple that Joker becomes complex. Arsenless Joker. Yeah, exactly. With Arson, it becomes a lot easier. This looks really good so far. Thank you. Look at this massive characters. So many characters in this game are very simple, in my opinion. His most complex aspect is his gun. No, I think his most complex aspect is the fact that he has to play the mid-range without a strong mid-range tool. Like, imagine playing mid-range in a game with Shulk and Lucina and Zero Suit and Link and Inkling and Lucina, and you don't have a sword. And you don't have a strong projectile. But you have to play the mid-range because you cannot play the long range or the close range either. He has a lot of options, but is not just in moves, but also in movement, which is rare in this game. That's what makes Joker complex, in my opinion. Bayonetta, I don't know how to place Bayonetta, personally, so I'm just gonna leave it right there for now. Banjo doesn't play by the rules, for sure. Has decent complexity, actually. Not too much. I would say around Diddy level. Joker has a strong projectile. I don't think Joker has a strong projectile. I think Banjo's around here. Banjo has some tricks, but in general, also some really good buttons. Joker side B is a bad neutral tool. I think side B is good, but it's like you need to apply it like fundamentally. It's not something you throw out there. You know, if you throw it out there, you lose. Banjo is a duck hunt. I guess it is. But I really wouldn't see Banjo as a complex character because he just has a few tools that are really strong that he can rely on frequently. Why do you think Mega Man is straightforward? I think he's one of the deepest characters, honestly. Because he's neutral, he doesn't really have complex decision making in neutral. He has one tool that's very strong that is hard to learn. I would agree on that. But I don't think it's that hard to use properly, personally. And that makes his decision making a lot more straightforward. His disadvantage is very straightforward. His advantage is very straightforward too. So yeah. Cloud. I think Cloud is definitely one of the simpler characters in the game. But also pretty fundamental space. Not as much as the other sorties. The other sorties have to play more fundamental space because Cloud has a very strong defensive option in a Be Out of Shield. Plus, Cloud has some jank with his limit as well. So I think in general he's a little bit less fundamentals based than the normal sword, like the Fire Emblem sorties. I don't know if he's simpler though. He has to condition more than the other sorties. He has incredible neutral, I agree. How's Min Min complex? That's a good question. I think she is relatively complex because there's a lot of things that you can do to set up her neutral, but I don't think she's that complex, you're right. I'll put her around here. Yeah, Cloud is pretty simple, but yeah, I'll put him around here. He's basically like Ike in a lot of ways, but replace landing there with landing back air. Yeah, he has very few options to really rely on. He's a very simple character, that's true. He has some jank though, which makes him a little bit more of a cheater. Like Limit, which is very janky at times. Like random up smash in neutral, which is very janky at times. But in general, yeah, he's very fundamental space. What's up, Ren? Thanks for the follow. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Cloud Terry and Game Watch play the game for you more than anyone else. I think Rob might be in that contest too, and Bowser too. I don't think Terry is that easy, even though he is easy. Yeah, I agree, Bravo. I agree. I think he's fine in this like massive characters. Let's see. Roy. Definitely more of a fundamentals-based characters, but has some bullshit. Nothing that makes him cheat, though. Outside of his ledge trapping, I think Cloud and Roy ledge trapping is definitely way above par. And because of the strength of both down tilt and jab, they get to ledge trap in ways that other characters just cannot. Just cannot at all. They also have like an anti-air hitbox on every one of their normals. I don't know why. They have jab bear, which I don't think is like cheating, but it is worth mentioning. They are relatively simple. I think I think Roy is definitely around like Lucina simplicity. And a little bit less fundamentals based. A little bit more bullshit than that. What do you think, Rinor? What do you think? Down to doesn't have an anti-air hitbox. Yeah, but down to does over in time for you to anti-air afterwards. And I think Crom is basically the same as Roy with a little bit more fundamentals, a little bit less complexity. Yeah, you cannot see this. I'm sorry, guys. I love how all the DLC characters aren't in power simple fundamentals. Roy has the X Factor on his side. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And forward smash, jab, back air. Roy's pretty easy, but not Lucina tier. Yeah, I can see him being a little bit more complex than that. I'll give you that. I think Crom is, though. Crom is definitely in Lucina tier. We're almost there, guys. Yeah, that's fair enough. Roy does have that complexity. I'll push him up because of his complex combo tree. Well, it's not complex. I'll stick to my initial idea. Don't tempt me further, chat. Don't tempt me further. You know who you are. Me, Swordsman, I can actually rank now. Yo, we get ice. Let's keep it English, though. As Eastern Sandalenside, after all. I think Crom's combo tree is more complex than Roy. Now that is a take. Let's see. Next, Nestle. Yo, thanks for the follow too, dude. Hope you're doing well. Me Swordsman is definitely a little bit more of a fundamental based character. He doesn't really have any jank at all. He's a little bit more complex than most fundamental based characters because he has a good amount of options, in my opinion. He has projectiles, which already makes his decision making a little bit more advanced than, for example, like an Ike. But I don't think he's like, I wouldn't call him like a complex character. I think he's like a little bit more of a cheater than Roy, but about as complex. Why characters like Pac-Man, Snake, Duck Hunt and low fundamentals based? I mean, playing Cappy and around things is an important fundamentals, or not? Because the way they play neutral is like almost entirely different than the way like most characters play neutral in this game. And of course, the rules is like a super made-up term that I cannot define properly. But that is the idea behind it. It's like there's a way that the game kind of that most characters would play the neutral, like Zero Suit versus Joker, with like a mid-range interactions, etc., etc. In comparison, playing as Snake or Ice Climbers or Pac-Man or Duck Hunt, it's like an obstacle course, right? It's like it feels like a mini game in comparison to playing versus like Lucina, for example, like the gold standard, I guess. It's abstract for sure. Robin. So I think Robin definitely has some complexity to the character. Do the rules only apply to neutral? No. So like Snake cheats by up smashing in a ledge trap, for example, constantly. Pikachu, most of Pikachu's cheating is quick attack out of disadvantage, right? Stuff like that. Robin has some complexity to the character, but I wouldn't call him a complex character. I think they're, you know, borderline. They also kind of play a mini game. It's very similar to Samus, but just a little bit more complex in my opinion. I would put them around here. Maybe a little bit down. It doesn't really matter. Let's see. Now we got these 4 left. Now, Isabel and Villager definitely have a similar game plan. I think Villager is a little bit more of a parkour though. Definitely very straightforward though. I would say they're around here. And Isabel is... I think Isabel's a little bit more complicated than Villager because of the mine and the fishing rod. They offer pretty interesting choices that Villager doesn't have. I wouldn't call them super complex though. I'll put them around here. A little bit more complex, a little bit more fundamentals based, because they cannot just throw at the wall constantly. Have to do a lot more conditioning. I don't know. Villager has tree, that's true. Joker might be more cheaty then. Frame 3 combo escape, down gun offstage in advantage, and recovery changing mid edge guard. That's a fair argument actually. But their neutral is very, very fundamentals. It's hard to say because I'm like balancing the idea of neutral and advantage, etc., simultaneously. So I don't know. You can do more tree watering can axe than mine. True. I still don't think they have as many tricks as like a DDD would, for example, though. So I don't think it's like super complex though. I think Isabel's definitely more complex. They might be about the same in don't play the rules though. Alright. Ness. Definitely a simple character. Sort of fundamentals based. It's hard to say with Ness, in my opinion, because his advantage state is basically where he thrives, and his neutral is very much similar to like Captain Falcon, where he doesn't have a good neutral, but he needs just a single hit and then kind of push their advantage. And their advantage kind of cheats, dude. They're definitely more on the cheating side. I'll put them around here. I think they're pretty... Like, Ness is not that hard to play. Lucas is a little bit more complex, a little bit, and doesn't cheat as much. I'll put them around here. A little bit harder. They might... I might just put it like this. I don't think Lucas is that complicated. They have some hard combos. I will, you know, will not lie about that. But in general, they're pretty straightforward. They have a lot of tricks though. It's more like a normal character, yeah. Ness PK Fire is some shit in this game. Alright, then we got the final 3 characters. Bayonetta definitely feels like she doesn't play by the rules because of her aerial afterburner kick. I mean, the upwards angle of it just makes you play the neutral so very different. So I wouldn't call her very fundamentals based. I think she's more of a don't play by the rules type of character. She feels like a mini game in a lot of scenarios with her multiple specials, etc., etc. She's definitely hard to play though. She's definitely hard to play, in my opinion. I would think Bayo near Game Watch? I would not agree with that. I think she's a little bit more complex than that. Not a lot, though. I think she's around here. She's definitely more complex than Robin. Maybe on the border. Kirby next to Shulk because he can inhale Shulk. I don't know about Kirby, dude. I'm not gonna rank Kirby. I don't know. I don't know about Lucario either. Because Lucario, he feels like his kit can become very don't play by the rules when he has Aura. But when... Did they patch out all his complexity? What's complex about Mega Man? You can tell me. Like, I'm open to feedback. What's complex about, what's complex about Lucario? He does have some interesting movement options, which makes him a little bit more complex than the average character. So I think that adds a lot, actually. And the decision making around kill options. I put him around here. Something like this. If anyone disagrees, please tell me, because I don't know what to do with that character. And then Kirby, we'll just put it right there. All right, guys. Say your piece or forever hold your tongue. Extremely fundamental and complex, exactly. Kirby is kind of a bad Mario and Yoshi, that's true. Why is Joker hard? Because Joker has a lot of options available to him and no dominant options. Plan seems way too high. Yeah, I can see that. I think he's pretty fundamentals based. Alright. We'll just put him like right there. I don't care about it anymore. Where do you rank Mii Boxer? I don't know. I've never played against a Mii Boxer. All item characters are super hard. I can see that, but I don't know about Banjo or Young Link, honestly. So it's a little bit hard to say. Can you do a tweaked version for online? No, because online would be super different, I think. I'm sorry. That's too much. That's too much, I think. Is there no one extremely complex and fundamentals based, because fundamentals shouldn't be that complex to begin with? Yeah, I think the closest is like Shulk, because Shulk at its core is a very fundamentals based character. It's just that he also has a lot of complexity to his art management, etc, etc. I think he might be more fundamentals based even, like, honestly, but that might be my bias. Well, I mean, it's hard to say because, like, he also skips a lot of situations, so I'll just leave him where he was. But yeah, I personally think Mech is fine. The only time he reach he's when people are getting red hard. Should not get hit by super armor unless you were just easy to figure out. Yeah, he doesn't really cheat, but he can like 2-frame with down smash, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. PT is not more complex than Peach. It's just 3 characters. Yeah, but learning 3 characters is complex. Robin at optimal level requires resource management, movement mix-up, and item play. Definitely more complex than the average character. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I'll put them a little bit higher. I think they're... I can see them being above average. I don't think they're super complex, though. Select Unicorn. Yo, dude, thank you for the follow, man. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for hanging out. Mii Brawl is kind of like a Fox and Zero Suit mix. Yeah, I don't really feel confident in ranking them. Yo, Vongola Primo KHR. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Thank you for the follow, dude. Thanks for tuning in. Where do you rank Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Zard here? I think Squirtle is in this quadrant. I think Ivysaur is in, like, around here. Probably around here. And then Charizard is, like, around here. Around Ridley. Is Vongola, is that a bad thing to say, Kite? I don't know. I think Squirtle is hard to play though, Slate. And knowing when to switch off of Squirtle is very hard too. But yeah, most of the time, Zach, complex characters, they have like a gimmick that makes them complex. And then the character kind of revolves around that gimmick, so the fundamentals fall to the wayside. And yeah, that's just a thing that often happens. Isn't Shulk the ultimate cheater character? Yeah, but they do play by the rules. In fact, the rules hate Shulk. But yeah. Why is Incineroar fundamentals based? Because he needs to approach with very, very low speed. And he doesn't really break any rules. It's just that side B is really good. I can't really tell who's on this. Yeah, me neither. Me neither. I'm sorry, dude. That's just how it ended up. I'm sorry. There's too many characters in this game. Oh, there's some Spanish players here. Okay. Pikachu. I think Pikachu is complex because Pikachu has a lot of options available to them. And it's hard to pick the correct option at all times. And you need to pick the correct option at all times. Alright, guys. I think this is gonna be the end of today's stream. I'm so sorry that you guys have to end on this note. Nah, I'm kidding. We're doing another stream. I think we have another one on Friday and then another one on Saturday.